So, Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Ooh, her husband is in the room too, and the answer is clearly yes.
I know you said it's garbage, and it may be, but I really think you need to say the word no into the record so that you can clear that up.
I think the ridiculousness of this and the tabloids that you are quoting and referencing are insane. And this is...
She can't even say no. All right, it's here. Today was a day of reckoning for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who was forced to sit in front of Congress, sit in front of the House Oversight Committee, and answer for the vast corruption under her watch at the DHS, the abuse of human rights under her watch at the DHS, the multiple executions of U.S. citizens in the middle of the road under her watch at the DHS. And there's even a moment where she gets asked about her sexual affair with Corey Lewandowski, who was her aide. There's very credible reporting that they have been bunking together, they have been way too close, and even Donald Trump has been calling out their BS because they are very, very likely having an affair. This all comes before the fact that we are currently in a war with Iran, and we would like the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, to be focused on making us safer. She's focused on anything but that. She's focused on sending ICE to go terrorize citizens. So I want to walk you through everything that happened today because it's so incredibly important to expose Kristi Noem as the fraud she is. It's crazy how just poor decision makers these people are. Kristi Noem is somebody who executed a little puppy. Awful decision maker, doesn't know what to do in the heat of the moment. Pete Hegseth used to be an alcoholic, awful decision maker, doesn't know what to do in the heat of the moment. The same thing with Donald Trump, Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, terrible, terrible decision makers. On the Adam Mockler channel, we will continue to build towards an America that is not led by absolute lunatics and dipshits. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you join the movement and drop a like. And let's start here, where Democratic Representative Joe Neguse from Colorado just nails Kristi Noem for lying during her testimony when she said that the DHS's ad campaign went to a competitive bid. Watch this. He points out that $143 million was sent to a shell company that was created just a few days before the money was sent, meaning the government is very likely committing the type of fraud that Elon Musk was looking for, but it's Trump doing it. Take a look.
In greater detail, the expansion of advertising in your department under your tenure, and I believe you testified regarding some of these matters yesterday in front of the United States Senate. In particular, I want to discuss the department's $220 million ad campaign. This is the ad campaign that featured you at Mount Rushmore. You're familiar with this ad campaign, correct?
I am familiar with it. It was an ad campaign that was...
I'm going to ask you some questions about it, Madam Secretary. So, as I understand it, this is a $220 million ad campaign. It's split between two contractors. One of those contractors got $143 million. That contractor is called Safe America Media, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That company is affiliated with a former political director of the National Republican Congressional Committee. Now, yesterday you testified, I think I'm quoting you right, you said, quote, or in reference to this contract, that, quote, it went out to a competitive bid. Do you stand by that statement?
It was a no-bid contract where two vendors were...
It was a no-bid
chosen.
contract.
If it would have been a no-bid contract, if I'm using that correctly, it goes out to two different vendors.
Correct. So it was not a competitive... Let me try to explain what the discrepancy. Because a competitive bid is very different than a no competitive bid. And I'll just explain why. We know that your testimony yesterday, when you said, again, I'll quote, it went out to a competitive bid, is untrue. The reason we know it's untrue is because under federal law, your agency is required, whenever the agency decides to skip competitive bidding, to file a notice with the public explaining why. And
it gets better. Just wait.
In this case, your agency filed a notice. You're aware of that, right? Justification and approval for other than full and open competition. Your agency made a decision not to proceed with competitive bidding, and one of the contractors that got the award was this Safe America Media Company that received $143 million.
So rather than allowing a competitive bid for the contract, she was essentially like, we're going to give it to a few key companies. Here's where he begins to grill it.
Vendors got the chance to look at that contract and to participate in it.
So
that is why the two of them were chosen.
That's inaccurate, Madam Secretary. I'll read from the notice from your agency. Given the immediate action to significantly reduce illegal immigration and border crossings, DHS identified 4 companies. 4 of the hundreds of thousands of companies in the United States, you identified 4. One of those is this Safe America Media company. Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
I'll tell you about it.
Madam
Secretary, the address is registered to a political operative. Madam Secretary, the company, and then I'll give you an opportunity to respond. The company is registered to a political operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out.
Oof, there's more to it. Something that they kind of skim over is that she perjured herself yesterday. He quotes her as saying that it went out for a competitive bid, but then he proves right there that that did not happen. But that's not even like the most important part of this all. I mean, her perjuring herself is obviously despicable. She's doing it all the time here. But $143 million in fraud, that is just one piece of the pie of the fraud committed by this administration. That's what Elon Musk was supposed to root out.
You want the American people to believe that this is all above board?
Yes,
that $143 million of taxpayer money just happened to go to this one company that doesn't have a headquarters, doesn't have a website, has never done work for the federal government before, and is registered apparently or attached to a residence from a political operative. And of course, one of the subcontractors of that contract, as you know, is a political firm that's tied to you back when you were governor of South Dakota. The reason why I ask these questions is that this is taxpayer money. And I presume, I don't know this for a fact, but Senator Tillis noted yesterday the way in which your agency is blocking the Inspector General from 11 different investigations that it is trying to conduct. I don't know if this happens to be one of them. I certainly hope it is, because eventually the facts will become public in this regard. And there are serious laws implicated, conflict of interest laws, federal procurement laws that I believe
followed. All done correctly.
All done correctly.
Oh, we're supposed to believe the under oath testimony of somebody who just yesterday lied and said there was a competitive bid. This is the most corrupt administration in American history. The Trump crypto coin is just the beginning. He's made billions. He's made so much money off of that, but that was just the beginning. We have Tom Homan, who has gotten $50,000 in a kava bag because he's corrupt. Kristi Noem, very, very clearly corrupt. But the repeated lawsuits against Trump's own government. He'll sue his own IRS because he knows that his IRS will give him like $1 billion, or he's asking for $10 billion from the IRS. He is taking our taxpayer dollars and wasting and abusing it, and I find that to be despicable. Let's watch Representative Jasmine Crockett, a firebrand who is just amazing, pinning Secretary Noem down about something that is very important, Liam Ramos. Liam Ramos was the 5-6-year-old that was detained by ICE. And, you know, there's a new article that just came out. Conditions at ICE Detention Center for Families should be a national scandal. I was reading this article and I thought I'd bring it up because, number one, that's Liam Ramos on the right, literally a child who was detained by ICE. Number two, this same facility that he was held at has had women abused, sexually assaulted, has had pregnant women malnourished, not fed enough, not given what they need, has had children denied medical access. The article goes into some despicable stuff. I think I'll let Jasmine Crockett take it from here.
Continue on this line of y'all breaking the law. Are you familiar with a child by the name of Liam Ramos?
I am.
All right. So Liam was at this Dilley facility, and it just so happened that we had put in our 7 days notice, and y'all had grabbed him 6 days prior to our visit. So we were able to go and visit Liam. Are you aware of the court order that came down that released Liam from custody?
I am.
And are you aware that the judge said the case has its genesis in an ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children? This court and others regularly send undocumented people to prison and orders them deported, but do so by proper legal procedures. Are you aware of that?
Yes, and I would disagree with the judge on several points.
I'm sure you would, but can you tell me whether or not you have a law degree?
Father chose to take
I have a feeling when the Trump admin is disagreeing with like 80% of the judges in the country, the Trump admin might be wrong on these issues. I mean, every single judge shoots their shit down except for some of these like Republican Supreme Court judges, but even the Republican Bush appointees, even the Bush appointed judges in Minnesota and in other states are like, yo, this Trump administration is going way too far. So when like 80% of the courts of the country disagree with you over and over and over, who do you think's right there? The judges or Trump and his administration? Obviously the judges are the ones who are more factually correct.
Can you tell me whether or not you have a law degree?
If I have what?
A law degree.
No, I do not have a law degree.
Okay, and you do understand, because I can go through a bunch of court cases and orders that I disagree with from the Supreme Court, that ultimately, that is the order of the court. That is what you follow, and if you have an issue, you appeal it up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The court went on to say, apparent also is the government's ignorance of an American historical document called the Declaration of Independence. 33-year-old Thomas Jefferson enumerated grievances against a would-be authoritarian king over his nascent nation. Among others were, he has sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. He has kept us among, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. Are you aware that he wrote that? Do you know that he was writing about ICE that falls under you?
The judge?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. With that, I will yield, but I do have 2 UCs.
Very, very fire from Representative Jasmine Crockett. Very well done. I want to jump over here to Representative Kamlager Dove, who then confronts DHS Secretary Kristi Noem on her alleged affair with Corey Lewandowski, her top aide. Even before they got into power, even before she was the DHS secretary, there were plentiful rumors of her and her aide sleeping together, and her husband was in the room during this brutal segment. Take a look.
Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Have you met the President of the United States? He calls the governor of my state like overweight and puts him next to McDonald's AI things. He'll say that they need to be arrested. He'll make AI videos of my friend Harry Sisson getting pooped on. That actually happened. Trump is like the gossip tabloid king.
We're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
and
my
ma'am, one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in
Start defending him. Yeah, start defending your mans.
the federal government.
So reclaiming
and
my
is
time,
an advisor,
Secretary, it is
and has
okay for
no,
you to be
no
offended
authority
by the
to be
question.
making any
It is
decisions.
okay for you to
has
be
no
offended
authority
by the
to
question.
be making
But it is
decisions
also
and
a
putting
real
up your
question.
position. So what I would say.
She's filibustering, but she hasn't said no. Remember, she's under oath. She has no problem with lying, but I think in this case, it's just so blatantly obvious that she would be lying that she's not going to do it. She's under oath. She doesn't want to say no. I'm going to go back a few seconds because she gets asked, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski? And she goes, I'm surprised we're peddling this. He's not able to make any real decisions. So you didn't say no.
That we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
and
my
ma'am, one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House.
She didn't say no.
In the federal government.
So reclaiming
and
my
is an
time,
advisor,
Secretary, it is
and has
okay for
no,
you to be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
be
question.
She still has not said no thus far.
Making
But it is
decisions
also
and
a
putting
real
up your
question.
position. So what I would say
And
to
you should be able to
is
answer
that
the
what we do
question
at the Department of Homeland
clearly
Security every single
and without
day,
any hesitation.
every single day is to protect
if
this
someone
country
is
and
asking
to make
if
decisions.
you or any federal official is sleeping with their subordinate, that should be the easiest. You should be wanting to answer that question.
Is garbage?
Because it is not about
It is
your sex
offensive
life.
that you have brought
It is
that up.
about your
So
judgment.
that kind of garbage
It is
has
about
been refuted
reclaiming
for
my
years,
time so
and
that
you
I
need
can
to
hear myself.
recognize-
Time belongs to the gentlelady from California, but it'd be nice if you would let her respond.
I will. I want to let you know it is about your judgment and decision making. It is about the 260,000 employees that work under you that want to make sure that you are giving information and making decisions clearly. It is about conflict of interest. It is about a national security risk. Department of Homeland Security was created right after 9/11 to protect the homeland. And DHS has circulated an internal bulletin to law enforcement partners warning that the conflict of the war we're in could inspire lone actors or small-scale cyber activity inside the United States, according to a memo obtained by ABC News.
This is the point I made earlier. We have actual security threats inside the country. It would be nice if the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security was taking her job even somewhat seriously.
So American lives are at risk. The people who work for you are at risk. And they want to know that the person at the top, you, are making decisions clearly.
I said earlier, the decision-making of Kristi Noem, of Stephen Miller, of Tom Homan, of all of these people, is absolutely awful. And I mean, if Kristi Noem feels disrespected by this, then too bad. They showed pictures of Hunter Biden naked in Congress. They literally disrespected Hunter Biden for months and months, showing a bunch of photos of him naked as a political hit. So I'm sorry, but I don't feel bad for Kristi Noem. And I especially do not feel bad when Jared Moskowitz follows up by pinning her down even more on the Corey Lewandowski affair question. I want you to notice, she does not say no throughout this entire clip.
You've called Corey Lewandowski a special government employee. I understand what government means. I understand what employee means, okay? But I don't know what makes him special. Now, I want to give you an opportunity to answer on the record to Ms. Camlager-Dove's question. I know you said it's garbage, and it may be, but I really think you need to say the word no into the record so that you can clear that up.
I think the ridiculousness of this and the tabloids that you are quoting and referencing are insane. And this has
She can't even say no.
been
So that's a no?
something that I've refuted for years, and I continue to do that.
So it's a
what
no.
I would tell you is
We
when
can move
it
on.
regards
Hold
to
on.
what you're
Madam Senator,
doing.
we can move on. I'm not going to belabor it. If it's
This is what you do.
Hold on.
Socialist,
I'm not doing anything.
Liberal left
Okay.
is you go off and you
I-
attack
I was-
conservative women and you say that we're either stupid
I haven't
or
said
we're
anything.
sluts.
All right, so listen.
And that's what you do.
Yesterday,
and I will tell
Richard,
you, sir,
yes, reclaiming
I will
my
tell
time,
you,
Mr.
sir,
Chairman.
I am
Mr. Chairman,
neither of
reclaiming my
those.
time.
I
You
am
were asked
neither
by
of
Richard
those.
Blumenthal
This is from
yesterday.
the
You were asked
out of
by
the
Richard
Democratic
Blumenthal
Party.
yesterday if Corey was involved in approving contracts. You said no. Do you want to correct that?
What I would say is that he has an advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, has no
Madam Secretary, do
decision-making
you want to
Defend your mans.
correct it, yes or no? You don't want to correct
no
it? Fine.
decision-making authority,
hold
no
on.
role in
Not a
contract.
problem. According to one of the FEMA administrators that you fired, there is nothing, including contracts, that is brought to you that he hasn't reviewed. In fact, a significant amount of DHS internal routing documents has his signature on it above deputy secretaries.
She is lying. She is straight up lying under oath. And notice how she doesn't say no. I'm going to leave it there. But if you appreciate these videos, drop a like. Make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.